this is the implosion. It's a 5-kilometer bridge, which 2 kilometers will be imploded, and the rest will be demolished by equipment. And only 1 year after the implosion, approximately. This is a picture of the bridge, how it looks now. It's very close to downtown Rio de Janeiro. It's also a place where the ships, they arrive in Rio, so the mayor wants to change that kind of view because it's a very ugly part of the city. This is how it's going to look like afterwards. So very cleaning area with a lot of spots to walk, walk around, and restaurants and everything. So it's going to be a very nice place in the city. The numbers of this implosion is almost 2 kilometers of implosion. We have to detonate 47 columns. And we also have 384 pieces of steel beams that must be preserved. So we sign a contract which we must preserve at least 90% of these steel beams. It all began in December of 2010 when we offered to our client a price for the mechanical demolition of the whole thing. And on May of last year, we came after them saying that it was possible to implode this structure, at least part of this structure, and with a lower price that we offer, and also with a gain of time, because the traffic is still passing by above above and below the bridge. So we're going to close the traffic only 2 weeks, only 10 days actually, before the implosion. Because if you go for a mechanical demolition, this whole bridge had to be closed already, So they enjoy the idea. They say, oh, it's a good idea, but how can we sell that idea to the mayor? I mean, making an implosion in the middle of the city. So it's not possible just say that you're going to implode and that's it. So we made a study together with ASI to prove to the mayor and also our client that the implosion was possible. And we began our study with the underground investigation, because there are a lot of pipes and tubes with gas and water and energy passing by under this bridge. So we had to keep them safe and untouched. These are the sections that we made the investigations. The implosion will come from here until right here. So most of the area, we passed we made the investigation. After that, we sent to ASI all the information they needed, such as the beams, bridging, all the concrete, the size of the columns. And they designed for us 5 simulations, 5 different scenarios at first. So with the 5th scenario, the one that we agreed that we could show the mayor and show our client that was possible to make this implosion. Our first scenario was with no cushion material at all, so just to see what happened, And we had, of course, a lot of damage in all beams, and 47% of damage. That was the percentage of damage in the beams. The second scenario, we create a delay between the columns of half of a second, just to see if that kind of delay would minimize the amount of damage in the beams. But the damage was basically the same. We had also 47% damage in the beams. Our third scenario was we created a cushion of 2 meters high of sand by 10 meters wide, placed it under every column. And we also made a delay of 15 milliseconds between the columns, and also 0.5 seconds detonation of the concrete beam located above this column. We had a partial damage due to yielding of steel, not tearing, but still, it's still damage, doesn't work. We had 32% damage in this kind. Oh, go back. And the fourth scenario was we used 2 tires, truck tires with 1 meter diameter, with a distance of 2 meters from each other, placed under each beam. We have 8 beams of those between each span, so there's a lot of truck placed on the top. And we also create a delay of 15 milliseconds between each column and a 0.2 seconds between the columns and the concrete beam located above. The result is we had 23% damage in the beams. We're getting better, but it's not enough. So we made, together with ASI, the solution of truck tires, water tanks. They work together. So these are how the trucks are placed into this water tank. So we create 2 different energy. The first one to absorb the impact, and the water to make the vertical energy to transform the vertical energy into horizontal energy. So we have the result less than 10% damage. So with that, we could show the mayor that it's okay, we are ready to implode. This is the final simulation. This is the simulation of this scenario. Could you, Martin, how do you say? Oh. This is the scenario that we show the mayor. We also made a report with everything, all the calculus and all the necessary information about the simulation, and he agreed with that. So in this simulation, you only see the beams falling. This is the index summary of all these 5 scenarios that we made. Then, after that, we had more than 35 scenarios, just making different kinds of materials, some on the top, some placed on the bottom, and that one was the final scenario, and this one we're going to use now on this implosion that's about to happen. So we're going to use this trail track called TR68, which is 68 kilograms per meter, place it into a concrete box, let's call it like this, and this trail track will be placed between the steel beams. So whenever the slab go to the ground, this trail track will hit the slab at the same time as all the tires will hit the steel beams. So we have a different forces working together to minimize the impact on the ground and also to preserve the steel beams. And at the end base, we'll have this amount of sand to minimize the impact as well. This is different views from our system. So the yellow spots in the middle, right here, it's the trail tracks, which have 10 lines of those trail tracks placed in every 4 meters. And the truck tires, we have like 4 tires placed one above each other, filled with sand, placed in every 3 meters. We kept the same sequence of 15 milliseconds delay between the columns, and also a 0.2 second delay on the concrete beam located above. And that is the final simulation. Martin. That was our final video that it's now the official video for this implosion. We call phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, because at the beginning we had 3 phases, but right now we only have 2 phases, which will be like implosion and demolition. This end bay here we are studying making conventional demolition on the top and just remove with big crane all these steel beams. So it might change a little. We're still waiting for approval for our client. So, but still have 14 days left, right? So plenty of time. Again, another view. And they were deciding about splitting this implosion because we are having a lot of protests in Rio right now. Everybody's complaining about everything. So if you want to build something or demolish something, there are people complaining. So they're worried about that. So right now, we're having a meeting to decide if it's going to be implosion of 300 meters, right where they have a tunnel to dig, and then 1 week, 2 weeks, or a month later, implode the rest, because they're really worried about the implosion between these 300 meters. So, but they didn't decide yet if they're going to implode the whole thing at once or these 300 meters, which is right here. So the tunnel will be right there, and also right here, we'll have a ramp to access the same bridge again. So we have plenty of time to demolish the whole thing later on, as long as they have the tunnel started. Because after the tunnel is ready, is when we are going to be ready to make the rest of the demolition. And also the demolition, they had a few things to be done, such as a lot of the streets to replace that street. You know, so we have a lot of streets around this area right here. They are ready by now, so everything is ready for the implosion. But another thing about this 300 meters implosion is that we can close the street on the 15th, which is a holiday in Brazil. So in 2 days, we are able to make all the protection, the rest of the protection that necessary for these 300 meters. But we can't make the whole thing in 2 days. And they're thinking about making only 300 meters to make sure that this implosion will happen for sure, because with all these protests, there's a chance of they stop our job for some reason. So everybody's concerned about that. We start our job taking pictures of all the buildings that are placed on the sides of the bridge. They are very old buildings, so we took a lot of pictures just to make sure that the cause of anything wrong in the buildings are not caused by the implosion. We had to buy a lot of material, which were 18,000 truck tires. Some of them we had to buy brand new, some of them were used, but it's not easy to find 18,000 truck tires with 1 meter diameter, so it was a really tough job. 4,800 trail tracks, 4,800 metal drum. I think that's the name of the thing here. I'm not sure if that's the correct name in English. So we also had to buy 320,000 square meters of reinforced net to avoid the flying debris during the detonation. We had a walkway located under the bridge. It's about 300 meters. We already demolished that in one night. Actually, it was on Saturday night. So we had to close the traffic to make this demolition. And this is how we made the holes at the columns. And as you can see, they are placed between each other from 80 centimeters. We need a place to store everything. So it's a lot of material, so we need to store everything in a different spot that we had to create. Not only the tires and the trail track, but also the nets. 320,000 square meters of nets, a lot of nets, so we also need a place for that too. Then we start removing all the equipment, such as radar, traffic lights, traffic signs. We just left a few lights because there are still traffic passing by on the street. It's an actual picture now. We took that on last week now. So as you can see, one side of the road, the traffic is going by on the 3 lanes. And the other side, we block one road. They allow us to block one road to put all the tires and the trail tracks. So we have now 33% ready for the protection ready. It's another picture showing the tires and the trail tracks. And this is the amount of explosive. We had to make 2 holes coming from each side because there's a steel tube located in the middle of the structure. So we left almost 5 centimeters away from the tube, and we're going to place 3 cartridges of explosive in each side. And all of them will be connected by detonating cord to make sure that all the holes are going to detonate at the right time. We're also going to use police. This is the strongest police that we have in Brazil to make sure that we'll be in a safe place during the charging of explosive. We're also going to close the street. Closing, I mean, put some walls, like not walls, it's protection, walls and really closing all the streets to make sure that nobody can get into the area. We're going to use 12 seismographs at the site, placed in different kind of buildings. And we created an area of influence. The evacuation area, which is a radius of 150 meters, which everybody must be evacuated. A communication area, because there are a lot of commercial establishments over there, so we decided to at least inform those people over the evacuation area about the implosion. And the critical area, which are the biggest companies around, which is the Samba City, the bus station, Novo Rio, and Docas, Docas receive all the ships. Bus station, I mean, we have only one bus station in the city of Rio de Janeiro, so there's a lot of buses arriving and leaving all the time, so we had to make a plan on this too. Then we had a communication plan. It's a huge communication plan, but just to make a resume, we made 3 steps. First one is to see who is there, what kind of establishment we have, like is it commercial, is it working, do they have direct influence or not? Is this commercial business strategic? Because we have 18 of them, which are big companies located in this area. And we consider them 18 strategic public, which made more than 10 meetings with them, specifically with them. We also made a questionnaire. It is in Portuguese, as you can see, but asking how many people live in the house, do they need special treatment, are you going to be in your house or in your commercial building during the time of implosion or not? Do you have a pet? Do you need some assistance or whatever? So we need to put all this information together so we can be ready to receive all these people at our meeting point, which we'll need to see how many ambulances we need, how many buses we need, how many people in general we need to help in this operation. And step 3 is monitoring during and after implosion. One day before, all the accommodation and transportation necessary has to be ready. And after the implosion, all kinds of accidents, incidents, if it happens, will be reported to the civil defense. So they created a specific phone number just to receive that kind of calls. Any kind of complaints, they will call the civil defense in a specific number. We also have a room full of TVs showing all these cameras because it's a very long bridge, so 2 kilometers, so it's hard to, only on radio, to be communicating with each other. So we're going to focus in one person that will be placed in one room full with TVs with all of these cameras. Some cameras are already for the use for the city of Rio de Janeiro. Some we have to install because we thought it was necessary for this operation. We have 17 streets that we must take care. We don't want the flow of cars to stop. So we also have to take care of this street because we don't want the traffic to stop, even during the implosion. Then, after the implosion is done, everything is perfect, everything went perfect, everything is all right. We'll start cleaning after the implosion these 6 different spots. We have to use hydraulic hammer, crushers, just to separate all the concrete of the steel, and also leave all the beams clean, because we have to use all the cranes to remove these beams. This is a picture of a demolition that we made on a ramp, on the same area that's a ramp, but we had to work only at night because we had to close the traffic to remove this beam. So at least now we know what kind of a crane we need, how much time we need to remove that. So, and of course, we're going to recycle everything. We have our own spot in Rio, which we receive all this material. Now we estimate approximately 30,000 cubic meters of concrete. So we'll be all recycling in our spot, and there's a good chance of most of this material go back to the site. So they're going to reuse as a sub-base. Well, thank you.